little red button? Yeah, push the little red button.
Welcome to the Netpicks Podcast, episode 3. They call me the captain, and the Sundance to my Butch Cassidy is, of course, the podcast machine, Mike Larkin. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Des. How are you?
I'm good. Not bad. So the topic for this episode, as determined by the Real Fortune, is coming of age. Now, when we say coming of age, we're talking 90% of Stephen King. Movies about the cohesiveness of a group of childhood friends and the experiences they face growing up, such as Stand By Me, It, The Sandlot, Little Giants. One movie that you picked last time, Mike, The Lost Boys, is a coming of age. Stranger Things is also a coming of age tale, but of course that's a TV show. So before we begin, of course, disclaimer time. Every movie has to be at least a year old in the interest of professionalism. So, Mike, what's your first movie? Oh, actually, we need to do the 5 films or less before we begin.
Okay.
So you pick any actor or actress from one of your 2 movies, and I will pick one from one of mine, and we'll connect them by the end of the show in 5 films or less. So who are you going with without giving away the movies?
Okay, so it has to be a year old, you were saying?
At least.
At least a year old?
Yeah.
Jesus, so if I pick something from like 10 years ago, that's no good?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, cool.
As long as it's not from this year.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah. Well, let's go for mine, Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill. Oof, okay. Well, there isn't really anybody famous in the first film I've picked, so for the second one, hopefully it'll make it a little bit easier. I'm going to go with Robin Williams.
Ah, okay.
So we'll try and connect those 2 actors in 5 films or less by the end of the show. So let's kick it off, Mike. What's your first coming-of-age movie?
Okay, for me, I gotta go with the great one, and I'm talking about, you know what, who's gonna believe you're some 25-year-old organ donor named McLovin? I gotta go Superbad with Jonah Hill, Michael Cera, the whole nine. And the reason why I picked that is because we have a group of teenagers trying to be in the popular crowd, go to the party, get drunk, have sex with the popular girl. And we got Emma Stone in this as well. So it's teen adolescents trying to be cool and really just trying to fit in and have that level of acceptance. You know what I'm saying? And also, if you look at it from 2019, we had Good Boys, which was the young guys, you know what I'm saying, preteen, trying to get in and fit in and be cool and going to the party and just having fun in that aspect. And there's a little drinking reference in it. So for me, my first one is Superbad. Not only just because it has so many great lines, like, you know what, that was like 8 years ago, asshole, people don't forget. And of course, just the fact that, it's just hilarity in its own right. We see, just kids just trying to act cool, have some fun, get alcohol to the party. Then you have Good Boys later on in 2019. So that's my first pick, would probably have to be Superbad. Involves partying, involves drugs, alcohol, involves trying to act cool and be cool. So we see a lot of that from 2007 to last year, 2019. So there's a nice little tie-in and connection there.
Yeah, I gotta say I've only seen it once and I don't really remember it that well.
It's one of those movies when you look at a film like Superbad, it's one of the things at this particular time period, it was hilarious. 2007, you have Jonah Hill, who was made a brief appearance in The 40-Year-Old Virgin, which came out about 2 years ago prior to this, or 3 years if I remember. Then you also have Michael Cera, who would go on to be in Juno. Then you have Christopher Mintz-Plasse, I believe it was, the kid that played McLovin. He was in Role Models. Paul Rudd was in that movie with him, yep. And you have Seth Rogen, I Am the Dick of the Law as the cop. There's a lot of tie-ins with everybody that really was in a lot of the Judd Apatow films around this time period. So it's a nice little cohesiveness, if you will, from the actors and actresses that are portrayed in these movies.
Yeah, I gotta say, when I what was his name again? When I think of Christopher Mintz-Plasse, how did you say his name?
Yeah, Christopher Mintz-Plasse or Christopher
I always think of Role Models.
Yes. Freaking with LARPing and the whole nine there, yeah.
Oh, that was fun, though.
It was. Whispering eye means vagina.
But I killed the king.
Yes.
And then, of course, the whole cosplaying as Kiss.
See, if you want to cosplay as anything, how can you not cosplay as Kiss? Love Gun. talking about his dick.
He's talking about his dick. The
Dick.
gun is his dick.
The gun is his dick.
I didn't know Jewish guys could sing about their dicks. They couldn't. That's why they wore the face paint.
It's just so awesome.
But yeah, maybe I need to watch Superbad again. Because
I mean,
when was it?
really
2007? Did you say?
Yeah, it really holds up like 13 years later. And besides the fact with the young kids and Good Boys, but that movie does hold up 13 years later. I mean, Emma Stone was doing her thing at this time. I mentioned Seth Rogen. There's a lot of cool, avenues in there, and also explores romance with, Becca's foot hit your dick when Jonah Hill had that obsession of drawing penises as a child, and it's funny, and it has little quirks and stuff. There's also some porn talk in there about, you know what I'm saying, pounding vaj and just getting all up in that. So I mean, there's a lot of innuendos with sex and just everything, and it's cool, and it really does, like, again, not to repeat myself, but it really does showcase a lot of teen and adolescents in the mid-2000s that we've seen in the 80s and 90s with a lot of films that I'm going to talk about. But it really does showcase a lot of the evolution of just trying to fit in, trying to, the anxiety and peer pressure it is being a teenager and then going off to college and everything changes around you. So it has that nice little aspect to it with a comedic twist.
Yeah. Okay. Alright, so for mine, I've gone for something a little more obscure. I don't even remember where I found it because it wasn't Netflix or anything like that. It's sort of a coming-of-age / murder mystery / horror / slasher. It's also set in the 80s, which, of course, is kind of the home of coming-of-age movies, a la Stephen King. Like I said, there was nobody really famous in it. So it's basically the story. It's a Canadian horror movie, actually. It's basically the story of a group of teenage friends who suspect that somebody in their neighborhood is a serial killer. Very much like Disturbia, but with a little 80s vibe thrown in. The movie's called The Summer of '84.
Mm-hmm.
It had a limited release in 2018, and I think it just went kind of into the atmosphere, disappeared. So it kicks off. The 13 teenage boys have gone missing in this little town in Oregon, which is the home of 80s movies. Again, a la Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the boys in this group helps his neighbour, who happens to be a police officer in the town, move some stuff into his house. They move it down to the basement, and he notices a locked door, and for some reason that immediately makes him suspicious. So a couple of days later, they see another boy missing on a milk carton, and then they realise that boy was in the police officer's house like a few days before, so again they suspect him. So they begin to investigate. But the great thing about it is it kind of sets you up to think maybe it's too obvious, but then you're not too sure maybe it is what's going on. So it doesn't really give anything away until right at the end. I thought there was going to be a twist, and I was completely wrong on the twist. But I'm not going to give away the ending because I actually really enjoyed it. It does kind of begin quite slow as well, but then it really picks up like in the middle. So I would compare it, like I said, Disturbia as a mix with Stand By Me.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. I mean, when you look at this film, and like you were talking about Disturbia, which had like Shia LaBeouf and the whole nine there, yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's one of those things where I like that type of style. As I'm looking at this movie, this is the one that came out in 2018, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, just by looking at that with the poster and everything, that definitely does pique my interest to want to see it. And also, first and foremost, like you mentioned, Stephen King and everything that's really based off that, with the milk carton and everything that goes into it, and of course Oregon. But yeah, no, it's one of those it's one of those things where I can totally understand. I'm looking at the actors and actresses in this. I see that dude Judah Lewis is in it. He was in The Babysitter, which was actually not that bad from 2017.
Is that the one with Samara Weaving?
Yes, and here's why I liked it.
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Number one, she was fine. And number two, it reminds me of like she's this killer babysitter, but you know what I'm saying? And she has like that habit of just, it reminds me of, okay, so Disney Channel, even though I'll be honest right now, it sucks. It's not the old Disney Channel of old with Disney Plus, which we can see a lot of stuff. But they had a show where my babysitter's a vampire. And it's very cheesy as hell, but that's like the babysitter to the films is like my babysitter's a vampire, but to the upteenth power, because it's just nothing like it. And number two, she's a sexy babysitter and she's out there killing at night and just stabbing and has like these weird ass rituals, but it's fucking worth it because it's just awesome just to see the friggin' blood and shit and everything that's in it. And he's just, the friggin' thing is he wakes up, and what's cool about it is because he sees us and he's like, ah, and he lets out this friggin' scream, and then they tie him up, and it's just, oh, I'm not trying to give away the whole thing, but yeah, it's something. It's cheesy, and it's weird, but it's something. And it's just, you'll get something out of it.
I've heard it's a little messed up.
It is very, very messed up, my friend.
So I would definitely give Summer of '84 a check out. It's, again, very obscure. Never heard of it until I just stumbled upon it. I didn't even know it was going to be a horror film. I just thought it was going to be like a coming-of-age movie, but it does blend both genres very, very well. And the guy who plays the police officer, Caleb Emery, I think.
Yes. Here's my problem with Caleb Emery. You know what he looks like?
Who?
He looks like a male version of Susan Boyle.
Oh, wait a minute. I think that's one of the kids, actually.
Okay. My bad.
Oh, wait. I think Rich Sommer played the police officer.
Okay.
But yes, Caleb Emery does look like Susan Boyle.
Okay, well, yeah, that dude was in The Devil Wears Prada. Okay, I could recognize him from that because I remember seeing that movie.
He does a really good job in playing this really charming police officer, so you really do doubt what's going on throughout the movie. All right, that's my number one. What's your number two?
Okay, so for my number two, the one I picked is Just One of the Guys from the 80s, because it's a story of she likes this guy, right? But it's one of the things where she gets to also experience like her brother and just what it's like to be a guy and put herself into the shoes. And there's the always memorable part where we go to the prom and she pretty much reveals himself to the boy she likes, friggin' shows it off. Then he goes, "Where do you get off having tits?" And I'm just like, the line still cracks me up to this day. So it's, she likes this guy. It's with Joyce Heiser and, of course, goddamn William Zabka, who was the 80s douchebag bully from The Karate Kid and back.
Dude, also killing it in Cobra Kai right now.
Yeah, buddy.
Johnny.
But yeah, when it comes to William Zabka, who still, by the way, looks almost the same as he did back in the 80s, just with shorter hair, and like you mentioned, Cobra Kai, which is the shit. But this one of these movies, it was just cool because she plays she's like a writer, and so she goes from being this hot girl, which she is because she is fine, but then she has like short hair and she looks like a guy, and she's getting tips from her brother on how to be a guy just to see what it's like. So there's the infamous scene where he's showing her how to scratch the balls, and he's like, you really got to get in there. And she goes, "Maybe my balls don't itch." And the brother goes, "All balls itch. It's a fact." And it's stuff like that. It's just hilarious trying to watch the brother teach her how to be a guy and fit in with the guys. And then, like I said, the memorable scene where they go to the party and she pretty much reveals, "Hey, I'm a girl." So it really gets to see the whole thing about it, because the guy that she likes is actually the guy that gets picked on by William Zabka, who is absolutely amazing at just being a dick, from being in the cafeteria and just fighting him there and just being the William Zabka dick that he is. So yeah, that's why I look at it like that. It also kind of takes me back to, when this kind of ties in, She's the Man with Amanda Bynes and Channing Tatum before he was in 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street, because that's based off the William Shakespeare film Twelfth Night, right? The play. So she likes Channing Tatum, and she plays her brother going into college, and because they look like twins, so she goes from looking like hot ass Amanda Bynes, this is before she went crazy, and just looking as her brother. They're going and playing soccer and the whole nine, right? And also what it takes me back to is English class, Mr. Hayes' English class, senior year of high school with me, East Islip High School. And also it's funny because my teacher, Mr. Hayes, sounded like Ben Stein from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Bueller, Bueller. He had that voice. But it's one of those things where I remember watching that in English class and just you see the tie-ins and correlations of guys taking themselves into girls' shoes or girls taking into guys' shoes, vice versa. Yeah, I'll even look at Soul Man with C. Thomas Howell, the very controversial movie from the 80s. It's one of those things where it just sees people putting themselves in other shoes and seeing what it's like. And even if it's someone you like, just putting in your shoes just to see what it's like to be a guy, seeing what it's like to be a girl, what have you. But yeah, it kind of ties in for me, just one of the guys. She's the Man that later came out in the 2000s. But yeah, for that movie, I'd have to go just one of the guys because Zabka playing an absolute dick that he is. And you get to see Joyce Heiser, who's absolutely fine, being what it is to be like a guy, have this writing composition about it, and just the overall hilarity that ensues from that movie.
Yeah, this was before Karate Kid as well.
Yes, it was.
Well, actually, no, it was 1 year after.
Okay, 1 year after, excuse me. But yeah, it's almost around the same time period.
Yeah. So see, when you first mentioned it, I was thinking, like, William Zabka more recent, but it's literally Johnny Lawrence.
Yes. And this one also is like 12th Night as well. That's where the comparison comes in. And it's really, you know what's interesting about it? One of the people that co-wrote the movie was Jeff Franklin, who obviously is the creator of Full House.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And Dennis Feldman, who's a very known screenwriter as well. He did Species, and he did The Golden Child back in the day.
Ah, Golden Child.
Mm-hmm.
Also stars Sherilyn Fenn, who I always remember as Curly's wife in Of Mice and Men.
That is correct, yes. Okay, here's a funny story about that. When I was in 9th grade, we read that book, and we had to watch the film, which the film is iconic. Oh. But at the end, where he goes, and I get to 10 the boom, I'm not going to lie, as a 15-year-old, I'm like, what a horrible way to go. And obviously that's the way it goes in the book, but he just goes, and I get to 10 now, and then boom, and I'm like, oh, freaking can't even let him finish the fucking sentence. That's horrible.
I get to 10 the rabbits.
Yes. It reminds me of, you know what it reminds me of? Remember Ben Kingsley and friggin' Gandhi from the 80s when they did the movie about Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi?
Yes.
When he gets shot, it's friggin' the worst thing. He gets shot, and everybody's going, ah! And then he's just like, oh, God. And then he fell. Again, 9th grade watching this movie. And I'm just like, what a way to go. And just the way he sold, he's like, oh, God. And then he just fell. I'm like, your last words were, oh, God? That's shitty. You know what I'm saying? He just friggin' dies like that. And it's just like, what a horrible way to go out. It was kind of funny just the way he said it. I'm not trying to laugh over death. But I'm like, what the fuck? And yeah, as a 15-year-old, I remember watching that in social studies class, Mr. Falkman's class. But yeah, that's my little rant on that. But yeah, movies.
Yeah, on the other movie show that I did before, I also mentioned the original version of Of Mice and Men from, God, I think it was 1939, 1940. And Curly's wife had a much bigger role in that for some reason. But I'm pretty sure I remember having a small role in the book.
Okay, well, I also look at it like this. When you look at Of Mice and Men from the 1939, excuse me, I don't mean to yawn, my apologies, 1939 to 1940, you know, that's around the time when Judy Garland was very big with The Wizard of Oz. Yeah, it's, of course, the interpretations are different.
Yeah. All right. I will definitely have to check that out because as far as I know, I only really know William Zabka from The Karate Kid and Cobra Kai.
What about Back to School?
Never seen it.
You've never seen Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield?
Nope.
You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it, Ez.
Is that a coming of age one as well?
Yes.
Maybe
well,
we should
okay.
have featured it.
Okay. Sum 41. You know Sum 41?
Of course, yeah.
You ever seen the In Too Deep music video?
Yes.
That's the part that they're doing is friggin' when the main guy, the drummer with the black hair, that's the part he's doing when he does the flip off the diving board. That's the infamous scene they're recreating from Back to School.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
What year was that?
That was 2001 when that came out. Not the movie, but the music video for Sum 40.
Yeah, what year was the movie? 'Cause I can't find it.
I think like 83. Just type in Rodney Dangerfield Back to School.
Oh, 86. There we go.
86, my fault. 83, 86. It was in the 80s, okay? For some reason, I thought it was earlier. So, yeah, Zabka was in this one, too.
Oh, it's a young Robert Downey Jr. in it, too.
Hell yes, my friend.
Okay.
And Sally Kellerman was in this as well.
Yes.
Yep.
And Burt Young.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, Burt Young. Paulie.
Yes.
Yo, Paulie.
Yo, Paulie. Just a jealous, lazy bum. Also kind of reminds me of Britt and I were talking about this. Rocky 4. Happy birthday, Paulie. Happy birthday, Paulie. What the heck is this? And then he doesn't like the robot. And then later on he's like, that's my girl. That's my girl.
And also Rocky 6, when he gives him a watch. I already got a watch. I don't need a watch. I got a watch.
Okay, and all right. I know this is very controversial because a lot of people didn't like Rocky 5. Rock will give you a shot. You're just a goddamn joke. Now get out of my face before I break your face in.
Hey, Rocky 5 was okay. It ended weird with a little street brawl.
That's the thing that everybody just can't get past is because, they had a street fight. But Rocky is a street fight. He started in the streets. He goes back to the streets. Hello, hence the great song, do-do-do-do, take me back from the streets.
You know it's a good Sylvester Stallone movie if it ends with a song like that.
Do-do-do-do, take me back. Yep.
Okay. So my second one, I think I gave it away, is a Robin Williams movie from 1996. So it was pretty much Robin Williams in his prime. It also stars Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, I know which one you're going, Jack.
Yes. Diane Lane, Fran Drescher, Brent Crosby.
Oh, the controversial.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's only got a small role.
I know. Wait.
Yes, it's 1996 is Jack. I only also found out recently that it's based on an actual condition. So Jack is, I think he's 10-year-old boy
10-year-old, yep.
who has Werner syndrome, which basically means he ages 4 times faster. So obviously Robin Williams is playing a 10-year-old boy, and he's like, what, 40 in this?
Yeah. Yep.
I haven't actually seen it recently, but I remember every detail, and that's why I brought it into the show, because I want to watch it again soon. I rewatched it so many times when I was a kid.
Well, you know what memory? So the memory I have with that movie is just because Jennifer Lopez was fine and Fran Drescher was Fran Drescher, and then also Brent Crosby was very funny with the kids and they're in the treehouse and shit. So I'm like, yeah, all right. There's a lot of memorable moments, and also just how everybody accepts him at the end, and then the graduation scene when they're all graduating and he's like the way he is because he, you know what it is? It's like the Curious Case of Benjamin Button, but moving forward as opposed to him aging backwards.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
We probably shouldn't talk about him too much, but Brent Crosby. He was in a funny scene in the treehouse, like you mentioned, where they do this thing of, farting in a can.
Yes.
And then take turns farting in a can, and then somebody has to smell it. So
God.
when they get him in the treehouse, they're like, "Wait, you're better than Jack?" And he's like, "I taught Jack." Oh. There's just so many things to relate to. Like, they're all grouped up in a treehouse, sharing a Penthouse magazine, and obviously because Jack looks 40, he can go and buy it.
I mean, come on, man. When you look the way you look, how do you not take advantage of going to get dirty magazines?
Yeah, so he's picking up Penthouse magazine and all these sweets and chocolate and shit.
I'll have a Penthouse magazine with the side of a Hershey bar. Thank you very much.
And he put it on somebody's tab as well, and he was like, put all these on the tab too.
Yes. No, that's coming back to me now. You know what that reminds me of? They were so happy with the chocolates, like looking at friggin' what's-his-face, Charlie from Willy Wonka when he gets the fucking golden ticket. Like, it's chocolate and Penthouse magazine. Can you really go wrong? Nope.
Yeah, we've just been talking about Charlie and Chocolate Factory on Max for some reason. I don't know how we got around to it. But
because goddamn Augustus was fat in that one, you fat little pudgy bastard.
You
Augustus,
want some chocolate? Sure, then you should have bought some.
I friggin' hate Augustus.
Oh, he's stuck in a pipe. Good.
Keep him in the pipe. That son of a bitch. And I don't even know why that annoys me. It's just, again, we'll talk about Halloween too, but goddamn, man. Friggin' little Augustus. The original and the Charlie one.
He's going to get turned into chocolate-covered caramel? No, I would never allow it. It would taste horrible.
I don't know who was more annoying, Augustus or Mike TV.
Ooh, in the first one, it was definitely Mike TV.
Yes,
In the second one, it was definitely Augustus.
I hate him.
Oh, actually, no. You know, Mike was a dick in the remake.
They both were dicks.
Like, how did you feel when you found the ticket? I don't know. I hate chocolate.
Fucking, that's right. Freaking Mike TV was more of a dick in that. Okay, you got me on that.
But in the first one, he's like, when do I get a real gun, Dad? No, not till you're 12, son.
Just fucking.
But yeah, so obviously Jack begins the movie as a loner. And all the school kids think he's this weird hermit because obviously he doesn't go to school, he gets homeschooled by Brent Crosby. And so every time they come and sort of look at his house, he scares them away by throwing stuff at them. I think there was one bit where he threw a fake eye out the window. But one kid called Louis, I don't actually remember how they meet. I think Jack ends up wanting to go to school.
Yes.
And Louis is the first kid he meets, and Louis kind of befriends him and, you know, takes him under his wing, even though he's like twice his size.
Of course.
Well, actually, yes, I remember how they meet now because they were in a game of basketball, and because Jack is so big, Louis picked him to defend the hoop, which obviously works very well.
Oh, of course. When you're his size and you're just freaking going hard in the paint, absolutely is.
Yeah. So obviously they become very good friends, and Jack becomes part of the crew. And then I think he has like I don't know if it's a heart attack or I think it's an angina attack or something like that. Falls down the stairs.
Angina?
Yeah.
Acute angina?
Falls down the stairs to become concerned about his health and, you know, stop him going to school. And yeah, it's just a really nice story of Robin Williams at his best playing a juvenile version of himself.
By the way, when Bill Cosby was doing the thing in that film, you know what it was, too? Just him tutoring him and Bill Cosby doing the whole thing. It just, you know what it was for me, too? Because this was at the prime when Bill Cosby was doing this stuff after the Cosby Show. And then years later, he would create Little Bill.
Yes.
That was on Nickelodeon on Nick Jr. And also, when I look at Jennifer Lopez in this, I think this was around the same time or maybe like a year before she did Selena.
Yeah, probably around the same time she did Anaconda, too.
Yes. Oh, my God, Anaconda. Hell yeah. And also, Fran Drescher was in the prime here when she was still doing The Nanny.
Oh, The Nanny. I've never seen The Nanny, but I've seen bits of it.
Okay, all I got to say is Mr. Sheffield. So, yes, but here's the thing about her. She's still fine to this day, and she wanted to get it on with Jack, which made me laugh so much.
Mr. Powell.
And you know what it is, too? I got to say this right now, and here's where you'll laugh with the funny little cute quip. Jennifer Lopez, what was the name of the teacher that she played? What was her name?
Wait a minute. Marquez.
I would just like to say I hate anyone with the last name Marquez.
I hope Moses is listening to this.
Yes. That's why I said it.
But yeah, obviously, Drescher plays Louis' mum, who tries to get it on with Jack. They end up going drinking together. Obviously, Jack's never drank before because he's actually 12 years old. And the funny thing is he gets into a fight with this guy and uses the lines that the kids were using in school. So it's like, you know what? You got Zackley disease. What's that? Your mouth smells exactly like your butt.
It's just, he's a grown-ass man, and he's 12, and he's using an insult at a bar like that. It's funny. It's really, really funny.
Yeah. And obviously he's never been in a bar before, so he's taken all the nuts from the bar.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Free nuts.
Yeah, who doesn't? Well, hey, man. Who doesn't take free nuts? It's like when you go to a place and you get to throw the peanuts on the floor. It's fucking heaven is what it is, man. And the key word is free. The key word is free.
All right. So let's see where we're going to put these movies on the board.
Oh, yes.
Okay, first of all, which one do you rank higher?
Superbad or just one of the guys?
Yeah.
Oh, you see, that's a tough one because mid-2000s representation, like I mentioned, Judd Apatow and those actors and actresses that are in that film, and you have just one of the guys. You know what? I'm going to have to say just one of the guys just because of fucking goddamn Zabka and the fact that Joyce Heiser was great as the main role, and also just because it's just so funny, and it really does. For me, I will take just one of the guys over Superbad, and it pains me to say that because when that movie came out, I was 15, but I'm also picking a movie that I saw later on in life because I was not born in 1985, but I will take the old school movie, just one of the guys, over Superbad.
Yeah. And it's an easy one for me, even though Summer of '84 was really, really good and deserves, if you can hunt it down, go for it, hunt it down, it's good. But yeah, definitely the nostalgia always comes up with Jack, so I gotta go Jack ahead of that. So, alright, now let's take a look at the boards that we got so far. Okay, so on your net list so far, you've got 1BR in 4th place, Twisted Desire in 3rd place, Lost Boys in 2nd place, and at the top is The Shining. So where is one of the guys going?
Okay, 1BR, Twisted Desire, what Lost Boys. You know what? I would put that at number 3, right below the Lost Boys.
Okay, so...
And I would move Twisted Desire to 4th, right?
Yeah, so Superbad, is that going above Twisted Desire or in between or at the bottom?
It pains me to say this. You know what? Because 1BR is so new, I would put that above 1BR.
Okay, so that goes in 5th place.
Yeah, so that's it's in my top 5.
Okay, yeah, still in your top 5, cool. Okay, so my net list is The Woman in Black, 1989 in 4th place, Wrong Turn in 3rd place, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure in 2nd place, and Nightmare on Elm Street in 1st place, which would have been a good... well, I'm sure we'll discuss it in the next episode, which we'll explain in just a minute. Well, first of all, I'm going to put Jack... Oh, it's a tough one in either 2nd place or 3rd place because it's right up there with Bill and Ted.
Alright.
Oh, man. I think I'm going to put Jack ahead of Bill and Ted in 2nd place. I just think there was more quotes in Jack than I can remember. And Summer of '84, yeah, I'll put that ahead of Wrong Turn, so I'll put that in 4th place.
Alright.
So that's how our tables are looking as we stand on the 3rd episode. Now, 5 films or less was a very easy one this time. So we had Jonah Hill to Robin Williams in 5 films or less, and all it took was one movie. Can you guess which one it was?
The one with Robin Williams and Jonah Hill?
Yes. They were both in a movie together.
It's got to be one of Jonah Hill's later ones. All right, now don't tell me because I'm going to think about it. Because I know that they were in a movie together and it's going to bug me.
I will say Jonah Hill's role was pretty small in it, so it is a very loose connection.
Oh, it's a very loose connection. Did it come out in the mid or late 2000s?
Late.
How old is the movie?
It's 2009. So it's just 2 years after Superbad.
This is really going to bug me now because don't tell me because I really do know this. Oh my God. This is going to piss me off. 2009? Jeez, yeah. I got to think let me just think about 2009 for a second because, okay, he had Superbad in 07. And then I think he did Accepted, and he did Knocked Up. Okay, I know Jonah Hill around this time. I think he was in Funny People with Adam Sandler. I think there was a Bruno at the time. And you're saying 2009, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, okay, yeah. All right, now you can tell me because I totally forgot.
It was. Oh, actually, let me see what number it was in the series. It was the second one. It was Night at the Museum 2, Battle of the Smithsonian.
Okay, now I know Robin Williams was in those movies, but
Yeah.
you know what it is? I don't remember the second one as much as I do the first one.
Yeah, I think Robin Williams was in them all, wasn't he?
You know what it is? Like I said, I think all the Night of the Museums I've only seen the first one. Weren't there only two?
I think there was 3. There was definitely 3 that Robin Williams was in. I don't know if they made a 4th one, because the 3rd one came out just after he died.
This is going to piss me off now because I totally forgot that they had it. Oh, yeah, there is a trilogy. All right. Because the only one I remember was the first one when it came out. And I'm like, all right, Robin Williams, hell yeah. And that was it. I didn't see the rest of them. So, yeah. They did one in 2014 called Secret of the Tomb.
Yeah, I think that was the last one.
Okay.
So, yeah, Robin Williams was Theodore Roosevelt in all of them. Jonah Hill played a small character called Brundon. In the second one.
I had no idea. Now I know.
So that was a very easy connection on this episode.
Hey. All right.
Okay, so next episode's topic. We're not spinning the wheel because the next show is actually later this week on Saturday for our Halloween special. It's an open discussion of our favourite horror movies. So we gave you a little preview of that in the last episode with 80s horror. So yeah, that'll be our first kind of open discussion episode.
All right.
And we're kind of making up for not doing one for a couple of weeks by giving you 2 in 1 week.
That is true. Yeah, we did have a little small hiatus.
Yeah. I mean, hey, we're busy.
We are. That's why we're podcasters. We're podcasting machines in our own right.
Yeah, so on that topic, of course, we also do the Max Wrestling Podcast. Make sure you check it out. And, of course, in 3 weeks' time, it is our next promo special.
Yes.
Which is promo series 5 Enemy Lines, featuring, Mike, the microphone standoff.
Like a microphone standoff.
Go check it out, youtube.com/MaxWrestling, and of course follow it on social media at MaxWrestlingUK. You have been watching/listening to the Captain and Mike Larkin. Thank you for netpicking and chilling with us. Don't forget to follow us on social media. There's no account for this show. But of course, make sure you follow the Four Corner Union account on Twitter and Max Wrestling, of course, for all of our shows. And I'm also living life on Twitter at DazzyBrand and the Captain512. Mike, give him your monologue.
You guys can check me out at SM Show 1 or MCL92 on the Twitter machine. You can check out the Pop Culture History Podcast with my girl and my opponent at Promo Series, the lovely Miss Brittany Savage, at pop_culture_pod. You can check me out with LFC at LaundryFC and LaundryFC.com with the Beauty, Strength, and Dominance podcast. Beauty, Strength, and Dominance are 3 key elements that make women the work of art that they are. You can check out me and my homie Steve Nicoforo, StephenMikeShow.com, with many shows that have to do with nostalgia, such as the Golden Age of Everything and the Stephen X Hockey Experience and the Stephen Mike Show. You can check me out on SoundCloud.com/MCLarkin92. You can check me out on the Max Wrestling Podcast each and every week. And you can check me out on the Netpicks Podcast with my main man, Dazzy Dangerously. And it's all good from there, homie.
All right. And of course, once again, we will be back on Saturday for a Halloween special. So come back and Netpicks and chill with us and see what's next. So just like Eminem, that's a wrap.
You can also check us out on WrestlingWithWrestling.com, and I hate anybody with the last name Marquez, and we're out.